Ian, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, where are you joining us from?
I'm actually currently in a library in Nebraska, Northeast Nebraska. I just came back from I came back from Wyoming for the Chris D. Horton Legacy Sniper Competition at RevTac in Jackson, Nebraska. I just
Oh,
come back
nice.
every year and help judge it. So,
Okay. So this was like the only quiet place you could find, or what?
yeah, well, I've got some homework to do after anyway, so I figured this will work.
Okay. You're in school?
No, but I do some blog. I write some blogs, so I
Okay.
need to do some research and write some stuff. So,
People still go to the library. That's cool.
dude, I use the library a lot, not to read, but to use their quiet rooms.
Yeah. I honestly can't say that I've been in a library other than like to take my kids to check out books since I was in college.
Yeah, dude, I use it a lot. College, absolutely, but I don't have a studio at my place, so I'm
Uh-huh.
like, my kids are all over me, so I got to find a place to go. So I
Yeah.
use our public library in Wyoming a lot.
Good. Somebody needs to keep them open.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's not true. I vote at the library, so every
Ah,
day
sure.
I'm there.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
that as
have been
well.
inside the library. Yeah. Okay, so you're in Nebraska, but you're from Wyoming.
Yeah, I'm from Nebraska. I moved
Oh,
to Wyoming. Now I'm back, this is what's awesome is this range here is 30 miles from where I grew up and my wife grew up. So we make it back every year and make the whole round robin, see family and help out with this competition.
okay. I have actually hunted in Nebraska a couple times for whitetail
Yeah.
up in the Sandhills.
Oh, sure.
So we fly into Rapid City, South Dakota, and then I would rent a car and drive through the Badlands and then through the Pine Ridge.
The
Uh,
reservation area.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
You
Yep,
see
I
a
know.
lot of different, I mean, from the Badlands, which is so unique, to the Pine Ridge, which is completely different
Yeah.
as far as the trees and elevation change and all that stuff. And then you get into the Sandhills, which is again quite different. So a lot to
Yeah,
see. I think it's only like a 2.5 hour loop, and you get to see all that stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. People call Nebraska boring, and people from Nebraska really search really hard to tell you that it's not.
Hmm.
But if you're driving the interstate, Nebraska's dang boring. But if you're in the northern end of Nebraska and coming in and out of South Dakota, Nebraska, that area is awesome.
Yeah. So I was hunting whitetail, and I look out. We're actually on a ridge, glassing, and I look out and I see like what I thought was a cow. It was like a massive animal. I was like, then I, zoomed the spotter and I was like, Jordan, why is there like a 400-inch elk in the middle of your pasture? She's like, oh yeah, we have elk here, and they get big because it's like a once in a lifetime tag.
Yep, exactly right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never drawn that, but I know some people that did. I used to work for Shields for a little stint, and I remember some guys that had drawn it from there. Yeah, I mean they're just eating corn, man. Like, and they've had a problem. I think it was like maybe 3 years ago. They had an open over the counter come kill elk in Nebraska. And I can't
Hmm.
remember what the limit was, but I mean it was a lot of tags. But I thought I was on top of my game, and
Uh-huh.
I called the game warden like the day before you could get in on this, and I was like, "Hey, what are some of these farmers' numbers that they're calling? They want us to call because they're ruining their crops."
Uh-huh.
And the game warden was like, "Man, you're so far deep in the list. The farmers aren't handing out their numbers anymore." So,
Oh
like, man, back in my home state, I could have went and killed an elk, but
yeah.
it's out.
Okay, so what is your military background?
Sure. I was a scout sniper in the Marines from 2015, 2019. That's when I was, let me say that again. 2014, 2019 was when I was in the Marines.
Uh-huh.
I started out as a recon contract. I failed recon just like every other sniper. And then went to the infantry in 2015 was my first try in school, failed school, came back. Anyway, so I was in the sniper platoon the whole time after I failed uh, recon.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, did like 6 months of reserves out of a reserve unit in Missouri and then kind of said, I'm going to hang it all up after that.
Okay. So I mean, I guess that's a pretty common thing for to fail recon.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I
I mean,
went
you seem like
in,
a smart guy. You're in a library.
yeah, dude, that's funny. That's funny, man. I'm like, yeah, yeah, anyway, we'll get into how not smart I am, but uh yeah, I recon we started with 170 guys, and
Uh-huh.
by the last day when I failed, there was 10 dudes. And then I recycled and we started with like 203 or something like that. And by the last day of testing to even get into BRC, uh, I think there was 14 guys.
Oh
So
well.
I can't do that math off the top of my head, but people talk about attrition rate, and I was like, dang, Recon's attrition rate was pretty freaking high.
Uh-huh.
But then those dudes that you worked with, you see them back in infantry school again, and then half the time you see them in a sniper platoon, you meet him at school again, and you're like, dude, I remember, swimming in the pool with you, and he's like, yeah, bro. Like you just try and find the next best thing,
Uh-huh.
and then once you're in snipers, you're like, this is the best thing. I'm glad I'm here. But a lot of those recon dudes go to sniper school too, and so it's
Yeah.
just, it's like-minded dudes.
Uh-huh. Okay, so when you are uh issued a weapon from the US military or the Marines, whatever,
Yeah.
what what are your options? And then do they have a standard bullet that they just say this is what you shoot, or do you have any say on that? I'm really interested. I have no idea how that works.
Dude, it is no options. It is here it is and make it work. And the cool thing about the sniper, uh, not program, but sniper platoons and sniper sections, and in the army they usually call them sniper sections. In the Marines they call them sniper platoons. But you have pretty good gear, and you're able to get some of your own gear and pass it off, and that's why everyone calls you a bunch of damn cowboys. They think you're cocky because you have the Marines is so, everyone wears their belt this way and the grenade goes on this pouch, all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
crap. So once you get in the cyber platoon, it's a little more, there's some leeway. But as far as rifles, sorry, the Remington 700, M40A5 is what was there when I got there. And then we jumped up to the Remington 700 chassis system rather than the traditional, Macmillan looking stock. They jumped up to a chassis system and the A6. But it was a 308 and it was 175 grain match king is what we shot. And there
Uh-huh.
was no option on that. Yeah. The
That's
only
a
option you had was like your mission set. Do I want to take this bolt gun or do I want to take the gas gun which was the M110 SAS by Knights Armament, the AR platform 308.
uh-huh. And you preferred the bolt?
Oh, for sure. Everyone did.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
175 grains is pretty heavy for a 308. I don't think I haven't hunted with a 308 in a long time, but I think most of the ones that I was shooting were in the 150 to 160 range.
Yeah. Um, because it's a 1 in 10 twist, kind of slow. A lot of guns with slower twist rates like that, like lighter grain bullets, at least that's from my experience. But they shot those phenomenally well. I don't know where in Quantico they decided like this is the bullet and it shoots the best, but those M40s shot awesome. They shot those 175s really well. When I got out, I started using 168s, but
Okay.
so I'm
And
with you on that.
so 308 is what you still like to shoot today?
Dude, I love shooting it just because of the nostalgic part of it and because a lot of stuff I'm teaching is with law enforcement and military. So that's why I stick with it. But no, I mean I'm using 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 PRC, 7 PRC, 28 Nosler. I'm all over the board, man, which is a problem in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So so for instance, like this competition that you're helping judge this week, break down like the percentage of what the guys show up with. 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 PRC, 7
Sure.
PRC. There's lots of good options.
Yeah, so this is a you have to have a sniper certification to be a competitor.
Uh,
And then I think it was after the third year they opened it up to where like we had a couple coyote hunters and stuff coming in and asking. I say we, RevTac is the range, and Tim Grover is the main guy there. He's an army sniper who started that, owns it.
uh,
I'm just like call it part of the cadre of it or whatever. But he guys were winning it with, you know, crazy calibers, 6.5 PRCs and 22 250, you know, just stuff that 22 Creeds, stuff like that, where it's like, dude, most of these guys are snipers and they have their 308 that got issued to them and they don't have any money.
Hmm.
So he created an open class for guys to do that. So mostly guys are showing up with some, I mean, it now has to be 308 and 5.56. So most guys are showing up with their issued 308. Some guys who are into getting into competition shooting and compete with their buddy, they'll have a custom 308 or something, but most of the guys are issued stuff.
Okay. Um, what is the longest confirmed shot that you've had?
On something living or
Both.
targetry.
Both. Yeah.
Something living 104 or excuse me, 140, 842 yards.
Okay.
And then we have just on steel, we have stuff at what is it? 2,000 yards when I was working for Gunworks.
Oh wow.
So I mean, I've never done some of this like King of 2 mile stuff like that. I've never even attempted that, but 2,000 yards, pretty common with some of the ELR classes we did. And in Iraq, we were shooting down helicopters with the 50 at 2,000 um, but 840 on something living.
Okay. And what was that?
That was a antelope in New Mexico.
Okay. Awesome.
The wind was perfect. The timing, everything was like, hey man, I can make this shot. So
Yeah. What do you say to people who are like, well, that's not even hunting at that point if you're shooting them at 850 yards?
I think they, I think that's the wrong wording, but I get where they're coming from because I mad respect the guys who get into 30 yards and smoke them with a bow. I think that is amazing, but it takes a lot of skill and practice and knowing your system, knowing the ballistics, knowing wind, etc., to shoot from long range as well. Um, yeah, so
I think that's the part that's overlooked by those guys who are like, or gals, who are like, yeah, that's not. You're not really hunting at that point. You're just a robot. Well, to become robotic in a sense, like there's hours and hours of time of spent preparing for that. Like the average guy just can't go out and be like, oh, I'm going to shoot something at 800 yards. There's no way in hell.
yeah, yeah, man, it's hard because it's like I get where people are coming from. And I do believe you're right. It does take hours. But if you have the know-how, meaning how to put something into a ballistic calculator and how to call wind decently within 5 mile an hour of what it's actually doing, like, yeah, you can put some rounds on stuff pretty far down range. You just need a little bit of know-how, which is time behind the gun and either YouTube or instruction, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can't take away from it takes some skill to get to hit something that far.
Yeah, and I always just end up at the same place. Like I don't really care. You have one tag. How you want to spend that is that's your deal. It's legal.
Yeah.
I respect both. Like I like bow hunting a lot, um, and I never envisioned myself like a long range hunter until I started going to Africa about a decade ago.
Dude, that you
And
never hear that. Long range guy, that's like everything's close in Africa. What are you shooting out there?
oh, I mean, I've shot a Vol Reed buck out at 575.
Heck yeah.
I mean, and so I'm from Texas, so everything here is primarily 200 yards and in. You know, you're
Sure.
sitting in a blind, unless you're bow hunting. Um, but yeah, it's mostly rifle hunting out of a blind, and we don't set up our feeders at 500 yards.
Yeah.
And a lot of places you couldn't even if you wanted to. You know, it's like
Right.
you have limited space to work with. So yeah, I mean, for probably the first 10 years I was really into hunting, I never shot anything past 220. Then go to
Yeah.
Africa, and it's like, uh, and it depends on where you go, but South Africa's got a lot of different elevation change and different habitat, and so it's a lot of time on the glass. Like people think they have this misconception: I'm going to go to Africa. Okay, I'm going to be sitting in a high rack. We're going to be glassing stuff just as we're driving by, and then we're going to get out and shoot it. Right? I mean, a lot of people think that's flat savannah. No, I mean that has not at all been my experience. I have jumped out of the truck one time, got set up and shot one animal out of like the 35 or 40 things I've killed over there. And that was
Heck
just
yeah.
because they were like, my PH was like, dude, that's the biggest Vol reed buck I've ever seen.
Get out. You need to shoot this. Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, what's a Vol reed buck? And he's like, it's right there. I mean, not Vol reed buck. It was a mountain reed buck. And it's he
What's the
basically,
moment?
yeah. I'm like, I
Shoot
don't
it. You'll
know.
find out, dude. You
Yeah.
want this.
And then like I thought him and his buddy were gonna cry when they walked up on it. They're like, this is like, as kids, this is like your white-tailed deer. He's like, it's not like something people associate with Africa, but as like local South Africans, this is like the white-tailed deer, and you just shot at like a 220-inch one.
That's awesome, man.
And he was like, please shoulder mount it. I was like, yeah, okay. It's European mounted in the, in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and now that you're saying that, my mind goes back to some of the long range pursuit videos from Gunworks where yeah, I've seen some long range
Yeah,
shots.
they hunt with my PH. Yeah,
Oh, do they?
they go with John
Okay.
X Safaris. Yeah, Aaron
Yeah.
and all of them. Yeah,
Awesome.
and so we talk a lot about that. And I mean, they shoot stuff at 800, 1,000 yards, and they don't want to shoot anything close. Like they want to put their precision rifles to the test and their practice to the test. And yeah, I mean, I shot at a black wildebeest at 730, I think. And
Dang.
then Carl was like, nah, I called the wind wrong. He was like, you made a good shot. I think I had a bad wind call.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Shot quite a few things in that 400 to 500 yard range. But again, all things that were foreign to me until I started going over there. And it's like, there's factors that limit you from getting closer. Maybe it is an open grassland and they're on
Hmm.
the edge of some cover or whatever it is. One of my favorite hunts over there, though, was for a species that isn't South African at all. It was a fallow deer,
Okay.
and they were introduced there in the late 1800s by a British guy because Britain had colonized South Africa, and he didn't like the way that South African wild game tastes. He said it was too gamey, it was disgusting. So
He's gonna bring some
they
good
brought
meat
fallow
over
deer in, and
here.
now these fallow deer are free range, just prolific all over the eastern Cape of South Africa.
Okay.
And so we shot down. I think it was like 430 yards, but we sat on the edge of this cliff, and you could just see like we saw him go in bed, and then all you could see was just like him move. He was under a tree, and then you could barely see him move every once in a while. And like, but as soon as he stood up, it probably took. I think we laid there for like 2 hours maybe, and then it just smoked him.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so like I said, I really had no kind of any long range experiences until I started traveling over there. Now I have most of my backcountry hunts have been archery,
Sure.
but I have done a couple muzzleloader and one failed rifle tag I drew for mule deer in New Mexico. But I'm going to Colorado in a week for mule deer, so who knows?
Heck yeah.
That could be like a 400 or 500 yard shot, or it could be 100. Never know.
Yeah. What rifle are you bringing?
I'm gonna take 300 Win Mag on that
Oh,
one.
Big Daddy.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I shoot whitetail deer with a 300 Win Mag.
I know,
People are
dude.
like, "What? That's way too much gun." And I'm like, "Well, guess what? I don't think the deer can be too dead, and he never
Yeah,
takes another step when I shoot him."
exactly. Dude, it's funny being out west in this. I mean, everyone gets into 7 rim mags down to 6.5 PRCs and 6 Creedmoors and whatnot.
Mm,
And shooting deer with 6 Creeds, I'd say, is like super common. Then I come back here and it's like just like my first rifle from my dad was a 30-06 for
mm.
deer. And yeah, it's just funny. It's like absolutely, why not bring the extra firepower? But I just now enjoy shooting stuff that doesn't kick the crap out of you anymore. So I like the small stuff. And once
Yeah.
you learn some terminal ballistics and what actual this bullet does this bullet does this, you can kind of get into that game. And but dude, bring a freaking 300 Win Mag,
Well,
like
here's the
then
deal.
it doesn't matter.
Here's the other part of that equation. If I didn't have suppressors, I would probably not be taking a 300 Win Mag because I've got this big boomstick, and I feel like the recoil is cut in half by the suppressor. So for me, it's not
Yeah.
really like I'm shooting a 300 Win Mag anymore, recoil wise. And I do have a recent comparison because I just got back from Newfoundland, and you cannot take a suppressor to Canada. So I have
Uh,
another 300 Win Mag that is not threaded, and I realized like the last time I shot this gun, was in 2018 when I went on my last moose hunt in Canada. So I
Yeah.
broke her back out of the safe, and I took her, and I think I shot 2 bullets when I got there just to make sure the gun was on, and then I shot the moose one time with a 300 Win Mag, 180 grain Nosler
Yeah.
partition, and the moose just went fell over. It was done.
Yep.
So
Yep. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I could imagine though. Going even just from suppressed to no break or anything. I mean, have you I don't know if you want to get into this, but have you heard like, like what the suppressor actually does that makes it less recoil? Like what have you
I
heard?
mean, no, I'm not the
I'm
scientist.
dude,
So
I'm not an expert on this either, but this is kind of
I
the
work with Banish, and so I have
yeah.
a pile of suppressors, thankfully.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And I mean, it does cool things. Like my son was on a 243. He's 12, but he's also skinny as a beanpole.
Yeah.
And I let him shoot my 7 mag one time. He's like, "Nope, I don't want to do that again, Dad. That was
Yeah.
not fun." So, but my PH was like, he needs to be on at least a 6.5 Creedmoor when he comes to Africa. So I took him this summer. Suppressor 6.5, no problem. He was like, "This
Yeah.
isn't any different than my 243." I'm like, "I know, dude, it's great." But tell
Yeah.
me, like, what is it?
Well, two things. I was doing a test where guys were always asking, does a suppressor, one, make your rifle more accurate or more precise? Two, does it change the velocity? Three, does it change your zero, your point aim, point impact,
Mm,
all those things. So, number one, what was the first one? I already forgot. I can't remember. Anyway, does it make your rifle more precise? I would say number one, you are putting a piece of a weight at the end of your barrel, so it changes the harmonics, but it dampens the harmonics.
hmm
So yes, I mean, I wouldn't say it makes it more precise. You probably shoot better because you're not anticipating the recoil as much.
I
Um,
do. I know that
yeah,
personally.
yeah, and the sound as much. But yeah, it dampens the harmonics a little bit, and usually I've seen guns shoot a little bit better when they're suppressed.
hmm
Um, and then as
Do
far
all
as
the guys at the competition shoot suppressed?
not all, most guys do, and the shooting community is always like, if you're a gentleman, you'll bring a suppressor, But it's like, dude,
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys who don't. I'm jumping all around, but I'll get to that. Shooting a suppressor dampens, it suppresses even the gases escaping all at once, right? Like so, if you don't have a suppressor, boom, all the gases escaping at once,
Mm.
real big crack, you get all that recoil coming back. With a suppressor, they call it less felt recoil. Now, again, I'm not the expert, so I'm not saying like this is fact, but this is what I've read and kind of in the community, this is kind of what's understood to my understanding, is that all the gases don't escape all at one time. So it's less felt recoil, same recoil, but less felt recoil because it's spread out in time.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
And I was doing testing where I was like, okay, no suppressor, shoot, put suppressor on, shoot, and see what the velocity change was. And it was actually more velocity. And I did 10 rifles, 6.5 Creedmoors. Out of the 10 rifles, 10 shots each, the average was 11 feet per second faster with a suppressor on.
Huh.
That's not going to change your ballistics, until you
hmm
get way out there. But I learned two things during that. One, yeah, you get a little bit more velocity with it. But two, I absolutely felt like there was less recoil with the suppressor on, just like you're saying. So I'm like, okay, that less felt recoil thing is absolutely true.
mm
But I know guys who would prefer a muzzle brake because it dampens your recoil more, right? Like you have those directional ports and you can port it in a certain direction because as a right-handed shooter, I'm getting all freaking nerdy. Sorry, dude, but
No, that's great.
I love this stuff. But as a right-handed shooter, your gun obviously recoils high left, and so you have to drive your gun back low right to find your target. And so those directional brakes, you can torque them, to the 11 o'clock or where the gas is escaping to the 11 o'clock, so
hmm
that when you take
Stuff
your
I've never
shot,
thought about. Yeah,
yeah, dude. Okay, great.
fascinating.
Well, I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I actually do a YouTube video on this while I was working for Gunworks. I think it's called like Gunworks muzzle brake or something like that. But it explains all this. It's really cool. We put a piece of tape on the floor, just this long piece of tape, and then set the rifle bird's eye view with the camera. Put the rifle over top of that tape, and what do we do? We put the muzzle brake on so that the gas was escaping only, up and to the
Mm-hmm.
sides equally. And when I put a string in there and I pulled the trigger, I pulled back with a string. So there was no body behind it. And as I pull that string back, boom, that gun slides back and left. So now it's pointing left. Okay. So it came outside of that tape. And that's to show you that the gun will naturally recoil to the left. And that's because of your right hand twisting your barrel.
Hmm.
So I can't
Huh.
remember the math. I was like really studying it when I was doing that video. So maybe I see it in the video. I can't
Lots of
remember.
library time there.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. When that bullet engages the riflings, there's so much torque on it that, it's trying to basically unwrap itself and go left. So then you put a human body behind it and it makes it go even further left, like it
Uh,
goes reverse. So anyway, that whole video was to show you that this directional brake, you can manipulate it in a way that it's pointing basically to the 11 and it doesn't take it out, but it mitigates, maybe that's the right word. Like it dampens how much it moves left
huh.
and up so that you stay more on target and you're able to get back on your target faster,
Yeah.
etc. So, and here's something that's interesting. If you shoot left-handed on still a right-hand twist barrel, your gun recoils high right, but it goes high right less than a right-hander's goes high left because your body actually has more to do with it than just the riflings.
Huh.
Like you have
That's
more.
fascinating.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, dude, I just love this
For the
stuff. So
record, I hate muzzle brakes. My
yeah.
first custom gun I ever had was a seven mag
Oh yeah.
and had a muzzle brake, and I mean that thing was so loud, and
Yeah.
we had to reshoot. Like I shot this red hartebeest in Africa at 370, and he was like, "All right, for the YouTube because they film everything over there." He's like, "For our YouTube channel, I need you to retake the shot."
Oh yeah.
And I did, and I forgot to put ear pro on, and I remember like my ears were ringing for like 2 or 3 days, so high pitched, and I was just like, God. So that's the other thing, suppressors. I did a lot of damage to my ears, and a lot of it was from shotgunning. Like when I started hunting, I'm 44. I started when I was about 20. When I really got into it, it was mostly duck hunting and dove hunting, and I never wore ear pro.
Yeah.
And then there's been, probably 5 times in my life where I'm like, forget to put ear pro on and I shoot an AR or that 7 mag or something. And I remember those times when it's like your ears didn't feel right for multiple days. And so
Yeah.
my kids will be talking to me and I'm like, what? There's times my wife is like, are you purposely not listening to me or you can really not hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
You
like,
play that
what did you
card.
say? Yeah.
No, I'm
um,
with you. Muzzle brakes they do awesome things for you, but they have their negatives.
mhm. So if I can, I'm going to shoot everything suppressed.
Yeah, heck yeah.
For me, and now spending a lot of time. How old are your kids?
One is 4, one is about to turn 2, and one on the way.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I
Congrats.
saw on your Instagram you got 3 kids.
3. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Awesome, man. Pumped for
And
you.
they're all getting into it. So, but I want I didn't invest in my hearing as a stupid full of masculinity.
Yeah.
Some might call it toxic, right? Like toxic.
Yeah.
No, it was just a dude. I'm like, I don't need ear pro. I wish I would have. Looking back
Yeah.
on it, for
Yeah.
sure.
No, I hear you.
Hmm.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Uh, so what do you actually do for a living now? You said you used to work for Gunworks.
Yeah. So, worked for them for 5.5 years, or right about 5.5. I actually left there in February and absolutely love Gunworks.
Hmm.
A dream job, absolute dream job. I just taught the long range school there. There was a training director and then 2 of us instructors. And we traveled all over, guided hunts, taught people class, then hunted right after. So they got this like, try got to try what they just learned all week, like just
Hmm.
awesome stuff. Anyway, it got to where it was a lot of travel, and the previous instructor at Gunworks, his name is Philip Vallejo. He was my sniper instructor at sniper school and in the Marines, and so that's how I got the job at Gunworks. Well, he parted ways, and after when I got there, and he started his own company with Kalen Wojcik called Modern Day Sniper, and they taught long range, same deal, military, law enforcement, some hunters, competition shooters. And then they parted ways. And I've always kept in contact with Phil Vallejo. He's a mentor of mine. And anyway, he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, man, I hope you're happy at Gunworks. And I'm not trying to take you from them, but I just want to let you know what I'm doing. And I want to see if this is an opportunity you want to jump on board." And he basically is saying, he started this company called the Cadre, and it's three Marine Scout snipers, um, and that own the company. And they're basically teaching law enforcement, military, competition shooters. But it's a lot of like SWAT sniper teams, um, uh, sniper teams from East Coast, West Coast, et cetera, whether it's military or law enforcement as well. And the hope is, I don't know if you've known this, but the Marine Scout Sniper program got shut down. I think it was 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And I think it's happened twice before. Now, some guys who are experts in this are going to give me grief, but I think it's happened twice before, like once after World War II and once after Vietnam, I think. Um, just because we're in a lull of combat time kind of thing, right? And there's
Hmm.
still crap going on, still dudes getting schwacked. So I'm not taking away from that, but it's not this like full on war movement right now.
Right.
So, um, anyway, the cadre, like we want to get called when it's time to stand that sniper program back up. And so it's these three owners, and then there's eight of us total, all Marine Scout snipers. And what's really cool is all of us have either been taught by or taught or been to schools with each other. Like all of us know each other. And what's cool is it was this kind of secretive thing starting this company out, and like you get on a video like this, and pretty soon another dude's face would pop up, and I'm like, dude, I remember you from freaking sniper school in 2015, like, and now, now we're working together. So anyway, it's eight scout snipers doing stuff to help people do the Lord's work, but also helping competitive shooters and whatnot too. So that's what I jumped over to. Not because I wanted to leave Gunworks, because I love Gunworks. It was just, hey, I want to be a part of this opportunity. I do miss the military and law enforcement side of things, a little
Hmm.
bit higher liability side of things. Um, and they also allowed me to kind of start my own LLC on the side. So I love the hunting aspect, and I didn't want to leave that. So Gunworks was awesome. They let me do a little bit of contracting with them this summer on some classes that were super full and whatnot. As they try and hire another instructor, I believe is what's going to
Hmm.
happen. But so I got to do a little bit of that with Gunworks a little bit this year as I'm teaching with the cadre. But I get to start my own LLC, which is UXM, Unextraordinary Man LLC, and uh, and it is just really to keep the hunting side of things where my big thing is helping guys get ready for hunts that are coming up. I know, heck, I've had a class where there's like three guys who had elk tags coming up, and it was their first big game hunt. And I'm like, dude, I went to Shields and bought this 300 PRC because that's what they told me to buy, and
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, let me help you, brother. I will get you ready. I know I've been doing this for 10 years now, and like I want to help you. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working for the cadre, but I've got my own little mom and pop training on the side.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What are the biggest obstacles associated with becoming a proficient long range shooter? Is it gear? I mean, do you need a $6,000 custom rig?
Dude, I
Is
knew
it
that's where it's
optics? I mean,
going.
because you worked for Gunworks. I'm been working with Mossberg for a dozen years probably. So I shoot
Hmm.
all. I have a safe full of their Patriots and whatever caliber I want.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I don't know if you're going to say, oh, you can't become proficient if you're using a Savage or a Mossberg or if you need a high end rig. But then most of these guys come to shoot the competition you're judging are just using their military issued um, Remington, right?
Setups.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I kind of as soon as you asked that, I kind of
but
knew this
Gunworks
would
is
go.
Gunworks is could be 10 grand, 15 grand for the
Yeah.
setup
Yeah. So, you drive the Ferrari or you drive the Honda Civic, both will get you
or the
there.
Nissan Sentra.
Or the Nissan Sentra. That's
Yeah.
right. That's my dad's old car. He was pumped when he saw that. Still getting use.
Yeah.
Um, but Yeah, you got the Ferrari, you got the Nissan Sentra. They're both going to get you there. One's way more enjoyable. Um, one may have a little better performance in certain areas or something like that too, right? So I'm a huge, like I've taught at Gunworks and I love Gunworks and I have some of their rifles, but I am a huge like budget guy. I love my heart is for the common man and for the blue collar guy. And so one of my favorite freaking rifles is the Ruger American. You know, they shoot great. My brother has a Mossberg Patriot. Um, and a lot of that stuff too, where you see a lot of those in the Midwest, especially, is because they're not shooting animals at 600 to 800 yards too, you know?
Mhm.
So equipment, no. Here's, I think, mentality and lack of knowledge is not the right word. Lack of information might be the right wording. Meaning if you know how and you know how to diagnose problems, you can get a Savage Axis, a Ruger American, a Mossberg Patriot to do awesome work. But you just need to know how to diagnose problems, how to fix problems. And there's some little tweaking here and there with some of these rifles where you can get them shooting amazing, you know. But
Mhm.
there is a point absolutely where you are limiting yourself with the equipment you have. And I have learned that because I'm always trying to beat people with my budget stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I have this opportunity to get this sweet seven, 800, $1,200 bipod, but I'm gonna do it with my freaking Caldwell that I got from whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And then I get out there and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be so much easier. Could I get it done? Sure. But is that guy gonna beat me in this competition with his equipment? Yes, he is. You know, so there's sometimes you got to get in the game to be competitive in the game kind of thing. But I'm a big fan of making stuff work. So
Yeah,
anyway,
but so it's not a limiting factor, say for the average guy who's got a $700-800 rifle. You got to spend at least that much on your optic. Probably, I would say if you're trying to get in long range, and you might agree or disagree, but I would think you probably need to spend more on your optic than you did on your rifle if you're going to go budget on one. Like, you probably need to go spend more on the optic. Honestly,
yeah,
uh,
I'd agree. I agree with you.
yeah.
I think optics are getting cheaper is not there are more. I'll say this. It used to be optics need to be twice as expensive as your rifle. Like that used to be the rule of thumb.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that so much anymore. Number one, because there's some freaking expensive rifles out there. But I tell guys who are just getting into it and they're budget guys, and it's like, dude, get a Ruger American. That's a $600 rifle. And if you're a veteran or a first responder or something like that, then you can get Vortex stuff at a pretty good cost. And you're into call it a long range rifle at 1,100 to 1,200 bucks. I've really tried to get it under 1,000
Mm-hmm.
and you can do it, but you're pushing some of the not so good gear and as far as getting into you got to get bipods and rings and all that stuff too, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
What do you think is the best? I've also worked with Vortex for forever. It
Hmm.
seems like. What do you think is their best option as far as long range optic at an affordable price point for the guy that we're talking about right now?
Yeah, yeah. I will say it right now. It's the Vortex Strike Eagle.
The Strike Eagle.
Dude, oh, I mean, the PST Gen 2
Mm-hmm.
is that one step above, and I do love the PST. Uh,
Yeah.
but for getting into a $800 optic, the Strike Eagle, and what turned me on to them was like I got one. I was like, hey, this thing seems pretty legit, and I compared it to a Night Force, and and it's like, yeah, are they the same? They're not the same, but it looked pretty dang good, man. And so I was like, I'm gonna buy one of these because it was my buddy. So then I did buy one, loved it. And then I was going to all these sniper competitions, and guess who's at these sniper competitions? Dudes who don't have a lot of money, Lance corporals and whatever, who are
Yeah.
making not much money. So what do they have if they have a personal optic? A lot of those guys had Strike Eagles, and I'm like, dude, a lot of these sniper comps, dudes are running Strike Eagles. Now you get into NRL and PRS where it costs freaking $300 to get into a competition. Those guys aren't running them, but
Mm-hmm.
dude, that's a great long range uh, uh, getting into long range, maybe just above like I wouldn't say above. Let's say budget to you're getting into some good stuff. Like Strike Eagles, I think are a great starting out scope.
Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah,
I've got two of them. I think
dude.
one's on a 7 mag and one's on a. I think I have 5 300 Win Mag in Patriot. Like,
Jeez. Dude.
I'm partial. My first love was the 7 Mag.
Yeah.
And then I got a 300 Win Mag. I think the first 300 Win Mag I got was to take to Africa about in 2015.
Heck
And
yeah.
I just, you want to shoot an eland, like that's a 2,000 pound animal.
Hmm.
You need a 200 grain bullet and something that's gonna. I think, and also they're not afraid to shoot them at 500, 600 yards either. Uh,
Yeah.
so anyway, I just fell in love with the 300 Win Mag, and adding suppressors to that equation kind of just further that, like, oh well, there's no reason for me to go back, but I do want to get, and you can tell me what you tell me what I want to get: a 7 PRC or a 300 PRC. I have a 6.5 PRC. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. What do you think about the 7 versus the 300 PRC?
Dude, that's tough. If you have a 6.5 PRC, jumping up to a 7, that is a jump, but it's not a crazy jump. You get up to a 300 PRC, it is the crazy jump, but you got a 300 Win Mag. So you're in the like you're gonna have to have one of everything at this point. But if you look at the ballistics, now I've posted on this and I've got a lot of argument and whatnot. But if you compare certain bullets, like apples to apples, a 7 Rem Mag, they usually have better BCs in their bullets to where they overtake a 300 PRC in ballistics because they're a more efficient bullet.
Mm,
And if you do the math with, like, let's say a burger bullet, like shooting a 180 with a 7 PRC, or you're shooting I don't know, 215 out of a 300 PRC. The 7 PRC is going to overtake it might be like 900 yards or something like that. So
mm,
most people are like, dude, I'm never going to shoot that far anyway. So then get your 300 PRC and never look back.
mm,
Um, Other guys who are like, dude, I have 1,200 yard shots sometimes, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what bullet do you like running? We can do the math. And the 7 PRC is actually going to overtake that at 900 yards, whatever it is. Um, but now 300 PRC, I see they're running, I don't know, what is it, 225 grain now. They make their bullets heavier now, which makes their BCs higher, which now
mhm.
so the thing I love about sevens, dude, is the recoil. It's just
Yeah.
not as much recoil. So that's one thing that Gunworks does, and I like to do now, that because of learned experience and learned things at Gunworks, is you shoot a lighter recoil and rifle better. Like, you're just going to shoot it better.
Right.
So so go with the 7. Like, that's usually, I try and push guys to the smaller calibers because you're going to shoot them better.
All right. 7 PRC sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. A 300 PRC, I had one that is the best shooting rifle I've ever shot, though. So it's like, dude, it's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah. You're swaying me back the other way.
Well, if you're going to run a muzzle brake, go 300 PRC. If you're
I'm
going
not.
to,
I'm gonna suppress.
okay, here's your other thought. This is what I tell guys. If you're going to shoot brown bear, moose, and you want to bring it to Africa, you got to go 300 PRC. If you're an elk on down guy, get the 7 PRC. And you can kill bear all day with the 7 PRC, but what do guides like to see? Guides like to
Mm,
see 30 cals.
yeah.
So,
Well, maybe someday I'll shoot a brown bear. If I sell a kidney or a child or something.
hmm.
Uh, I am next year. In August, I'm going on the most expensive hunt I will have ever paid for. I
Yeah.
work out a lot of deals in the industry. There's no deals on mountain goat. Come to find out,
Yeah, I'm sure.
the
Yeah.
price is the price. Like,
Yeah.
no, we don't really need your help advertising. We appreciate it, but the wait list is already 4 years long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to BC to go on a mountain
Oh,
goat hunt. I never told my wife what I spent on that, and probably shouldn't admit it on the air.
yeah.
But I was able to pay a little bit here and there, and
Good.
so,
Dude, I'm pumped for you. Good for you, man. Good luck on that. That's so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So let's see. As far as your favorite caliber to take hunting, well, first of all, tell us what you like to hunt first. What do you like? What do you enjoy hunting the most?
Dude, my favorite hunt is an antelope hunt.
Oh,
I love that. Like hunting is you suffer during hunting. Like hunting sucks until you find the animal and you go after it and you shoot it. Like that's what's awesome about hunting.
Right.
Otherwise, you're cold, you're wet, you're carrying heavy gear. Like people can romanticize it all they want, but hunting is freaking tough work. And there's something that's badass about that. There's also like sometimes I'm like, dude, I just want to get some meat and get home, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but antelope's my favorite because it's pretty low stress one. They're just a cool animal. Like they look like they're from freaking Africa, but
Mm-hmm.
they're in the US. And I'm like, so if you miss, you get another opportunity usually, right? You just find some more. And it's a good old boy road hunt is what it is, like ride around on side by side and you're warm and you're just BSing and your glass, oh, there he is, and then you go after him. And that's one thing I love antelope hunting because of that. I brought my wife this year, she got an antelope tag and she shot her first buck a couple weeks ago
Awesome.
with my
Heck
two
yeah.
daughters with us. So it was awesome, man. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so this elk tag that I got, I felt kind of like almost guilty. Because it's a coveted elk tag, but I'm going down my list of tags and I went over the elk tag. I'm like, okay, I got the bull elk, but oh frick, I didn't get the antelope. And I was like pissy about it. And then
Hmm.
I came down from my self-pity and I was like, oh gosh, this elk tag's really good actually. So
Yeah.
anyway, antelope's probably my favorite. Elk would absolutely be right up there with it. I don't know if I could say one and two or if there's different loves for each one.
Yeah. Elk's up there for me. Antelope isn't, but I've killed two in Texas. Enjoyed it. It was pretty much it wasn't a backcountry hunt because where the antelope live in Texas is West Texas. It's flat. It's all
Yeah.
agriculture,
Yep.
and but it was drive around, glass them up, and then once you see a nice one, figure out how to kill it. And so the first one I ever shot, and this was right when the 6.5 Creedmoor came out, because my buddy
Okay.
Glenn, who was on the hunt with me, he was like, "Hey, I got this new caliber. It's perfect for antelope." And I'm like, I think I showed up with the
Three
308.
on one mag.
I think it was a 308 on that hunt.
Okay.
This was over a decade ago. And he's like, "No, no, no. Use my 6.5 Creedmoor. It's gonna be perfect for this." I'm like, "Okay, all right, sure." Uh, but we saw this buck with some does in the middle of cornfield or something, and we're like, well, what do we do? If we get out of the truck, they're gonna run. So basically, they just slowed the truck down enough for it just to be rolling. I got out and just rolled in the ditch there,
Hell
and then
yeah,
got up and
dude.
set up on the bipods and smoked him.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's what I love about it, man.
yeah,
Like that is fun.
yeah. Oh, and we didn't even have. We had to get permission to hunt that field. Like we didn't have the outfitter didn't even have permission to hunt it. So we left a guy there just to say, hey, if they leave, let us know, because we had like the next uh, property over.
Sure.
It was
Yep.
like it took like 30 minutes to get find out who owned it, and then get a hold of them, and they're like, yeah, sure,
Heck yeah, man.
whatever,
Yeah, that's awesome.
get after it.
And I'm impressed with that because I've done that many times and it's just like no answer, no answer, no answer on different properties because they're getting hundreds of calls, man.
Oh, for
Maybe not
sure.
in that spot, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I haven't done a like backcountry antelope hunt, but I know, like, talking to buddies that have gone to Wyoming and stuff, it's kind of similar. Like you said, it's road hunt, find them, and then you make your plan. But I do have points in Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Utah. But I just haven't ever burned the antelope points because, being from Texas, like going out west is usually I get to go for a week, 10 days every year.
yeah. Yeah.
And so the antelope has always been like I prioritize elk, then mule deer, and then here's antelope. And I keep burning my elk and mule deer points, but now I've got all these antelope points in all these states. And I'm like, I guess I need to start using these things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to
No,
be
I
doing a lot of antelope hunting in the near future.
yeah, dude. Yeah, no kidding. And I'll say this, the meat, I hear people stink on the meat and I'm like, man,
They're crazy.
yeah, they're crazy, dude. My wife just made the antelope she shot. We broke down the bones and she made bone broth out of it. And
Mm.
like, dude, it's awesome. The meat, honestly, we make soups and stuff out of it, blah blah. And the least gamey taste in soups that we've made just from straight meat in their broth was the antelope. And guys will be like, dude, it tastes sagey and all this. And everything I've heard and is you got to get them cold right away. I've never
Uh-huh.
spoiled one. I've always had a cooler right there, so I haven't experienced it
Yeah.
where it's like it got hot and it got nasty, you know.
Right. Yeah. My situation with antelope has not been that it was sagey or gamey or anything else. I thought it was very mild and like phenomenal. But again, in Texas, they're living in agriculture,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
it's maybe a different animal, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when I shoot one in Wyoming here in a couple years.
Yeah,
It's the
man.
same deal. Um, well, so how I found you was this viral video, and it's you driving down the highway with, was it a 6x7?
Dude, it's a 8x7.
An 8x7. It's hard to
Yeah.
tell because I mean you're driving down the highway.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah. Yeah.
uh,
One is only about an inch and a quarter, inch and a half tall. So
but you've got this elk strapped to the roof of an old beater looking sedan.
yeah.
And you've got this big old grin on your face. I'm assuming it was your buddy that was filming you.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
But so, I mean, did we fall on hard times here? Like, where did your truck go? What's the story there?
Yeah. So
Do we need to start a GoFundMe for your new truck?
yeah, dude. Yeah, let's do that. No, I had an F-150. It was my dream truck. I had everything I wanted with it, with grill guard and ditch lights and everything. And it, I'm not a car guy, and I'm not a like, look at me, I got this BA setup guy. It's literally
Mm,
like I need a 4x4 truck, and I need a grill guard so I don't kill an elk and get my family killed when we drive through the mountains at night.
mm.
So like I had this a really sweet setup, but I'm hauling a trailer around a little bit and with my side by side in it and going through the mountains with it and whatnot. And it got to the point
Time
where
to
it's
get
like,
a diesel.
let's get a diesel, yeah. And
I
I'm
just
like,
got my first one. I'm right there with you.
dude,
Yeah,
what'd you get?
I got a Dodge. Well, they're just Ram now. Forget they don't call
Yeah,
them
yeah,
Dodge
yeah.
anymore. But a Ram 2500,
Heck yeah,
and
dude. Gas? Oh, you said diesel. Yeah, yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why is because I have beat the hell out of my last two trucks. I had a my dream truck was a Chevy Silverado. I put a lift on there, black on black leather loaded, And I
Have
don't
you
buy
ever?
these new. They're new to me. I buy
Yeah,
them like
yeah.
low mileage. Maybe they're a year or two old.
Yep.
So I had that, and the transmission crapped out on me at like 80,000 miles. Cost me over $10,000. So I was
Oh
like,
my goodness.
I'm like, never Chevy again. Buy Chevy. Get rid of this thing. And then I bought an F-150 lift again. And I liked the truck. It wasn't like my dream truck, but it was pretty reliable up until the same. I
Till it
started seeing the
wasn't.
same symptoms of when the transmission crapped out on the Chevy, and this one had like 90,000 miles on it. And so I'm like, I am done. Plus, the 1500s are not designed for lifts. I figured out. Like, you can
Yeah.
put one on there, you put 33, 34-inch tires on there, put a lift on there, looks really cool. And for me, it was practical because I didn't have an ATV until this year. I didn't have a buggy. And so I would beat these things up on my deer leases. Like they had to be functional. Like you said, I need a truck that this is basically it's just an investment in what I do for a living, like
Yep. Yep.
going hunting and hauling feeders and, you know, driving to the blind, whatever it is.
Yep.
Um, but I eventually was like, okay, I have now beat up two of those, whether it's my fault or not. So it's time for a diesel. And then I'm working with this Wood Cycle Country in the Texas Hill Country, and they hooked me up with a new Can-Am Defender.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, man.
it's great. Now I have got, two rows, can take the kids wherever. I don't have to
Yes.
beat my truck up. I got a cargo trailer, so it stays nice and neat inside at all
Yeah.
times. But I will tell you, so the Dodge, I love it. First time I took it to the lease before I had gotten the Can-Am, I sunk it. I got it stuck. I never got one of the 1500 stuck.
Yeah.
I'd
Just a,
taken my son out there. It was like in July, and I had a place in Oklahoma at the time, and I was going out there. We were going to shoot, just getting ready for Africa. I was moving him from the 243 to the 65, so we're going to go spend a day out there shooting.
yeah.
And we go to leave, and that truck is not going anywhere. So call my landowner. He comes and gets me with the tractor.
Dude, it's that heavy beast, man. That's
Yeah.
just
So
Yeah.
beware. That's the only. I never got the 1500 stuck. Go through anything.
Yeah.
And in like if Toyota once gave me a Tacoma for a week and said, "Here, go take some video, beat this thing up, see if you can get it." I couldn't get that thing stuck.
Dude, that's the that's kind of the dream hunting truck, I think. But I can't afford to do a hunting truck and a family truck. I got to do them both.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are you thinking about as far as the diesel goes?
Dude, I got one. I got a
Okay,
yeah, F-250, got the 6.7. So,
nice.
I've had a couple buddies who've had them for a long time, and I'm not brand loyal to Ford, Chevy, Dodge. My dad drove a
Me neither.
Silverado.
I've done the entire Skittles experience.
Yeah,
I've gotten all the flavors.
yeah. So I'm just like, the thing I love about the Fords is their cab space is huge, and they have the door code on the side so you can leave your keys in the truck. Like that was literally, it fits car seats really
Uh,
well for my babies, and it's easy getting in and out kind of thing. So that's why I
mhm.
did it. But yeah, I had this truck. I knew I wanted to sell it to get a diesel. Um, and I put it up online, and I just happenstance, it was 3 days before this big elk hunt. And
And this is in Wyoming. Your
this is
elk
in
hunt.
Wyoming.
Okay.
Yep, yep. So uh, a guy hit me up who's actually a good friend of mine. And he wanted to buy this truck, and I'm like, man, bad timing, but like the price is right, and like I love you, man, and I want to let's make this happen. And
Yeah.
so we made it happen. And then after it left, I'm kind of like, I better call my other buddy, see if I can use his truck. So I called my buddy that I was going hunting with. Um, and his name's Mike. And Mike's like, dude, and he's the best guy in the world, man. Like, he'll give you the shirt off his back kind of guy. And he's like, dude, absolutely, we'll take my truck. And so we take his truck. I had to drive to his house, it's 30 minutes away. And I was like, man, I haven't started this car for like 6 months. And my dad would probably be shaking, pissed off at me for that. Like, you got to keep it.
This Sentra.
This Sentra, this
What
Nissan,
year is this thing?
a 1999. My dad bought it off the lot new, and it's got almost 300,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Yeah, and little stick shift, dude. I mean,
Uh,
it's awesome. Dent in the door, like
uh-huh.
I mean, when I get in it to this day, it smells like when I was in grade school, my dad was taking me to football practice. Like it brings
Yeah.
back all the memories. So I do love the car.
Yeah.
And it's reliable. But anyway, I get out there and I'm like, man, I got to leave at 3:30 in the morning to get my buddy's house. I'm like, I got to get this thing running. So I did some work on it that night and scraping the acid off the battery and, putting more fluids in it and checking the oil and all this, and then had to jump it. And I had to call my neighbor to come drive over to jump it because my truck's gone and my wife was at work. So
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, got it going and got there, yeah, 3:30 in the morning or 4 in the morning, and we went hunting his truck. We come back to his place, and it was time to drive back to my house. And it was like, well, what are we gonna what are we gonna do? It's like I wasn't gonna ask him to drive back. And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, let's strap it on the hood or on this car. Like, it'll be funny. We'll take a picture. And we strap it on there, and it was like he's like, dude, I'm gonna follow you. Like, I can't at this point. I was like, we could have just put it back in his truck and drove that. But at this point, he's like, dude, I'm gonna follow you because this is hilarious. I'm gonna take a video of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we're driving down, and the stretch from Cody to my house, Cody, Wyoming to my house is not uh yeah, 30 miles, but not crazy traffic.
Mm.
But the traffic we came up upon, it was just awesome. There's a lady who was jogging, and she was like cheering me on. A couple dudes in pickups drive up next to me, giving me like the thumbs up. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. And then yeah, I posted it just to be funny, and yeah, it kind of blew up, and it's been fun, man.
It's been quite the viral video for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude, when I went to get this truck, so I went and got this truck in Utah. And so I flew into Utah, and I did a lot of research on this, had them take so many videos. So I'm like, I'm not going down there to look at this thing and then not getting it. Like,
right.
so I was 99.9% on buying this truck, and I get there, and I hop um into the little office, and like one of the guys is like, so I saw on like your thing trying to get a loan, your application, like you have to put what you do for work. And he says you're a shooting instructor. up by in Wyoming. Have you heard of Gunworks? And I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I used to work there. And then like two other guys pop in and we start like connecting dots. And pretty soon they're like, one of them gets on my Instagram's like, dude, that's you. I was like, yeah, dude, that was a week ago, whatever. And then I mean it was awesome. And they took a picture and made a post about it. Like, we got this guy in a truck, and
Yeah,
so it's been fun, man. It's funny how some stupid little video like kind of gets, for me, that's viral. 1.3
yeah,
million views right now. I'm like, all my stuff gets like 1,200 views. Like,
yeah.
no, yeah,
Well, yeah. So I didn't even know who it was. I think it had been reposted multiple times, and so I saw it and just shared it. And then you said, "Hey, can you tag me in that?" I was like,
yeah,
"Yeah, absolutely." I
yeah,
always try to. If I know who it is, I'm always going to try to give them credit. And
yeah,
then I
yeah,
looked at your profile, and I was like, "Wait, this guy's he's a sniper instructor, and he's got this crazy video. Let's visit with him. This seems like an interesting dude." So
yeah, yeah. Thanks,
I
thanks for
will.
calling me up, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
absolutely. I used to slay the crap out of ducks in a Saturn Ion sedan stick
Heck
shift.
yes, yeah,
Uh,
dude.
like I had a Ducks Unlimited sticker on the back of it,
Yeah,
and I didn't have a truck. I was in college. I couldn't afford a truck. I bought that car with my own money.
yeah,
Actually, my grandfather gave me I think it was like 8 grand or something. I was bartending and waiting tables, and
yes.
he was like, "I'll give you a loan, help you out." So, I was like, I think I probably sent him, "Okay, I want this truck." He's like, "I told you the number that I will give you. You need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
adjust your sights a little lower, maybe look more in
yeah.
the Nissan Sentra Saturn side of the equation." So yeah, I ended up getting a sedan, and we'd load up the trunk full of decoys, have two labs in the back seat, and
Oh
I
yeah.
have a ton of photos of just piles of ducks on the hood of a Saturn.
Should have taken a
So
video,
uh,
bro.
I know this was before before
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah.
existed. This is 15, 18, 20 years ago, somewhere in there. But
YouTube would just, dude, you wouldn't believe how many messages I've gotten of guys like saying that exact thing. Like, dude, I did this a year ago, or man, back in my day, me and my brother used to stuff three, whitetails in the trunk of my, just so
yeah,
many messages like that. And I freaking love it. That's
whatever
just,
works. That's the
yeah,
message. Yeah. So,
yeah.
let's talk about the actual hunt though. So you draw this tag. Like how
Hmm.
many? And I don't know if it's different for you as a resident. Like how many points did you have to have?
It's just the random draw.
Oh, okay.
So,
So for non-residents, we have to. I hunted elk in Wyoming in 2023, and I think my buddy and I each burned. I think we had 8 points.
yep,
Drew a
yep,
nice unit on the Colorado Wyoming border, and
dude, yeah.
he stuck a 5x5, and I came to full draw once. But dude, we were in elk every day. It was awesome.
Yeah. That
Can't wait to
area
go
is,
back.
dude, that area is awesome. Awesome. But
No grizzlies there where we
yeah,
were.
oh goodness gracious,
We
dude.
had
That's
we had so our tag was like statewide, I guess, in certain
mhm.
units. So there was parts of like the southern part of the state, or you could go way up to northwest. And we had used like Hunt Stand or Onyx or whatever to
Yep.
map out where we were going to go. If we didn't get into elk in the southern part, we're going to go way up here in the northwest. There's grizzlies there, so we were kind
Mhm.
of like. Luckily, we got into elk.
Dude, yeah. That was the name of the game with this is just w- uh, s- we get in. Our plan was to drive in as deep as we could, get in the side by side, drive in as deep as we could, and then we had a spot picked out that was about 3 miles from where we could get the side by side and set up camp and then do all our glassing and stuff up there. And we got down to where we got the side by side and we just were hearing bugles and my buddy, he's I mean, gosh, just the best dude. He's just an avid hunter. Like I think I'm a hunter, man, but like this guy, he grew up like
Mm.
from day one kind of thing. I think, like he knows his stuff. So it was so awesome to have him with. But he's like, dude, let's check out, see if we can find some of these, that were bugling and we're in this spot where you could see so much, but we're 3 miles from where we wanted to start glassing, and I bet we saw, gosh, 30 bulls.
Oh
Like,
wow,
dude, it was awesome. I mean, it was like you sat there and was just like, thank you, Lord. This is like a sportsman's paradise,
yeah,
and we the first bull we saw was the bull I shot.
really.
Yeah, but he was probably 1,500 yards away to where you couldn't quite, it's like, hey, dude, he looks pretty good. Like, man, when he turned this way, I thought maybe I saw an extra, and then, but we're like, well, let's check out some of these others and stuff, and we sat there for probably 15 minutes and just kind of kept going back to that guy to kind of compare. And it got to where just like, my buddy's like, whatever gets you excited, man. And I was like, bro, we gotta at least let's go look at this guy and see, because everything else looks good. Let's look at him and because he
Yeah.
looks like pretty nice. So, in the process, we're seeing there's 5 grizzlies that we had seen already, and it was
Mm.
kind of this not Frogger because it wasn't like right in between us and the elk, but it was right over here, and we're going through creek beds and whatnot, and it's just like keeping you, on your toes a little bit.
So you have bear spray or 10 millimeter or what?
We both have 10 mils, yeah.
Okay.
When we came back, we brought some bear spray, but we just had 10 mils then. Um, and anyway, so they're up pretty high and they go into some trees. And so we're like, okay, we're going to use this riverbed basically to kind of just mask our movement. And what we're trying to, the wind is blowing towards them from us, but we're below them. So we're like, okay, let's just stay low, get beyond them, come back up, wind's in our face, shoot. And when we get up there, of course, they're not there anymore. And this is 3 hours of hiking in, and we're trying to relocate them. We get up on top of this ridge. We do relocate them, and at this point, it's like, dude, this is a freaking nice bowl. But of course, there's 3 bears in the same drainage with him. So we got to think how we're going to do this, and basically, if you got fingers sitting. I'm trying to do this for people who's not watching. If we're looking perpendicular to the fingers that are coming down. We're on one big finger and they're going, let's call it from south to north, and all these fingers are south to north, but we're looking to the west and hoping that this bull is going to come out of this draw up onto one of the fingers. So we're facing him right around 600 yards is kind of the plan, right? And we're sitting there for a while and he's not exposing himself. So we had moved down the finger, or let's say up the finger, until we were in line with him, but he was no longer in view. Okay, so now we're just hoping he's going to come up on top of his finger and we can nail him from ours. As we're watching, he's not coming up. We're sitting there maybe 20 minutes. So we keep kind of creeping towards the call it the mother mountain that has all these fingers coming off
Mm-hmm.
of it. And so we're kind of creeping towards this mother mountain because the way he's going to go is away from those bears, is our thought. And the bears are down below the fingers in the valley, let's call it. So we're sitting there waiting. He's not coming. We keep moving our way towards Mother Mountain, and we sit to this spot where it's like this is like a 500-yard shot. Like this is where we're gonna camp. But these freaking bears, man! All of a sudden, there's 3 of them now in the same drainage, and they're of the elk, and they're starting to move towards them. And we're like, they are gonna bump them. They're gonna go up their draw and over Mother Mountain.
Mm.
So it was one of those things like, man, I do not want to spook these things and get so close. Um, but we had to. These bears are going to spook them. So we made our way further up the our finger till we got to Mother Mountain and crossed over down his finger. He's still in the backside draw of that finger, but we're coming down that finger. Um, we're halfway to where we've got him marked and we hear a scream behind us. And so, or a bugle. So we turn around and there's cows coming out of some trees behind us at 500-600 yards. And so boom, it's like, damn, they put the slip on us. They're already up over Mother Mountain. So I get down, set up my bipods, we get on these cows, and out comes a big elk. And we're like, oh crap. And my buddy's sitting there just with his binos because there's no time to set up the spotting scope at this point. And he's got his dog, which is awesome. His dog is like, I mean, bears hate dogs. Dude, I haven't lived in Wyoming enough and hunted with dogs to know that. But my buddies, he's like, dude, they hate dogs. So I always bring my dog with me when I'm in bear country.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he's holding his dog.
I have a chocolate lab. She's in the studio with me here for bird
Yeah,
hunting, obviously ducks and dove and stuff. And she stalks pigs with me with the thermal at night.
dude,
Just
that's
stays right by
awesome.
my side, as long as the
Oh,
wind's in your favor, it doesn't matter. And if you have one that listens, like She
Yeah,
just wants to be out there. She doesn't care what we're hunting, you know. So yeah, I
dude,
totally get it.
that's the
Dogs don't
best.
mess up a hunt. If your dog minds, like, you know, it doesn't have to be for birds. They can just be there with you, and
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
And dude, now I love that dog. It's just like that dude protected us,
Yeah.
so I got respect for him. And me are buddies now. But so he's got his dog. He tells me, hey, this is where they are. I get down, set up. They're moving out of the trees. Here comes this elk. I'm on the elk and I laze him. And as I'm lazing him I got 3 power rangefinder at this point. Laze him. I'm throwing on my dope. As I'm changing my parallax to make that critter clear and get my put everything on the same plane in the optic, I'm like, this isn't the same elk. It's a nice 6x6, but it's not the same one. And dude, I flicked it off safe, finger on the trigger. I'm like, maybe I should just shoot this guy. Like, I don't know if that guy's down there anymore. And this is a nice elk.
Mm.
And then as we're kind of debating, I'm probably not taking this shot, but I subconsciously I'm kind of like, maybe should I? And then we hear big old bull scream down behind us again. We're like, frick, yeah.
Mm.
So we look to each other and we're like, back down here. So anyway, now it's time to creep down this finger and just as slow as we can, that type of thing where you're like, you're above them and you're trying to creep 3 to 5 steps and look with your binos without exposing the top of your head, that kind of
Oh, for
crap.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that we were doing that for 100 yards down this finger until there was almost this cliff face or a step down to as the finger continued.
Sounds
And
like
so
a nice place to shoot off of.
dude, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, and that's what we thought too. So, we're creeping, we're getting to this kind of cliff face on our finger, and my buddy's like 20 yards behind me, holding his dog because he's like, they have to be right here. That's where we had marked him on Onyx. So, I'm doing that creep thing, and all of a sudden, I just see ears, and I boom, drop to my knees, and I look back to my buddy, and I'm like, dude, they're right here. So take the bino harness off and just start doing the whole low crawl up to the actual cliff face. Um, as I'm doing that, I'm seeing the ears. I see the antlers, and it's funny. It all came back to what one of my buddies at Gunworks name's Jeremy Winters. He's an amazing shooter, amazing hunter, and a mentor of mine as well. He's talked about hunts that he's guided where they bullet holes were in the antlers or after they killed them or they just missed over top of their heads, and it was because dudes get so sucked in through adrenaline to looking at their antlers and they
Mm.
shoot during that process of looking at the trophy part of it. So in my mind I was like, don't look at his antlers, don't look at his antlers, like peek to make
It
sure it's the right one,
happens.
then back down.
The first elk that I ever shot at, I went, drew a tag in New Mexico. I spend a lot of time hiking and grouse hunting and fly fishing there with my dad.
Hmm.
And I eventually was like, my dad's not a hunter; he's a fisherman. And so I eventually was like, I need to start like applying because I'm seeing elk and like, this was the first like big game tag I ever applied for and drew. And I'm from Texas. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And
Yeah.
obviously, and to get to the point, I didn't know what the hell I was doing as a bow hunter either, apparently, because I remember the elk was only like 25 yards away and I shot under him. It's a big animal, 600-pound animal. And it was because I didn't put a pin on him. I just looked through the beam and just shot. And I
Dude.
didn't realize what happened until later on. I was like,
Yeah.
is my bow off or whatever? And I was like, no. I got so amped up that I just looked through the peep and I didn't even put a pin on the vitals. I just shot.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Dude,
it
that's
happens.
wild. Yeah.
I'll never do it again,
Uh,
but, live and learn. I was like the first. And I'm not, I never would say I'm a bow hunting savant,
sure.
I like it, I do it, but you just tell me the season, I'll be there. I don't claim to be an expert at any
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, I hear you. Well, dude, to go along with that, I think that helps with it gives you like a lesson in training is, I start off with white-tailed does, so
Mm.
like that's exciting, but it's not a bull elk in front of you. And I had a guy it was his first big game animal, and it was a cow elk. Sorry, it was a bull elk down in New Mexico, and it was at the Whittington Center. And this is
Mm.
through the Whittington Center and Gunworks. But I was like, man, this guy's never shot a big game animal, and I know how exciting it gets. So the night before, I put a picture of a elk with, when you Google vitals, elk vitals, it'll show
Mm.
the beautiful picture of an elk broadside and then drawn in vitals. And I was just like, I put it on my laptop and I put it on the other end of the lodge, and he sat with a tripod and his gun and just dry fired on this thing. I was like,
Hmm.
where I came up with that is in the Marines, that's what they do. Your targets are human shaped or have faces because they want that you're used to, and your mind is dumbed down to where it's just normal to see that in your optic.
Right.
And so I wanted that for him. And I mean, he crushed his bull. I'm not saying that was the reason, but he knew where to aim. He'd seen it before in his optic, and so that you're getting a little bit of rep before you're all of a sudden on it.
Hmm.
But it's funny though, man. You teach, you teach, you teach, and then when you're in that scenario yourself, like sometimes you jack it up too.
I mean,
It's
it's
human
embarrassing
nature.
to admit, but it is what it is. I don't sugarcoat. I
Yeah.
don't pretend that those things don't happen to me. I think it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, and I think I'm a stone cold killer most of the time.
Yeah.
But the first time you put a bull elk in front of me, and I called the thing in myself. I didn't even know what I was doing.
That's sick,
And
dude.
I was, I took, yeah, I was mad that I missed, but I also took a lot of pride in the fact that like I went there, I never even talked to an elk in my life, and
Yeah.
got this guy to come in.
That
And then I
is sick,
screwed it
man.
up, but
Yeah, that's all right.
the next one I didn't.
Yeah, well, good. Well, I, yeah. So what happened when we get to the edge of this? I'm looking over top and I'm doing that thing. Like that's the right one. Now I'm going to focus on his vitals. Is dude 250 yards at this point, and
Chip shot.
yeah, I mean it was dude. I usually run a trigger cam on my scope, or I use the Olin and I videotape it.
Hmm.
My buddy's back holding his dog back and doing what he should have done, and that is exactly what I would have asked him to do. So he's like, dude, I'm so sorry I didn't get that on video. I'm like, dude, you did exactly what was right in holding your dog back to make sure we don't spook these things. Because it was tricky. I mean, we were so dang close to him,
Yeah.
and just wide open besides the cliff that I'm on. So I'm on this thing, and he's like licking his lips and feeding, and cows are in and out. So I had about 2 minutes of just on him, and turning my power down. It got to the point where like he's 250. I didn't need to dial, but I was just like, let's be as perfect as possible. And I was shooting mills. I think it was point 0.3 up is what I came up, and I'm on him. And then you're sitting there long enough that you start to second guess yourself. You're like, was that 250? Or was it, and so I lays him again, just to be 100%
Oh
sure,
yeah.
check my dope again. And yeah, I just had to wait until cows split. And it was so crowded in there with them that I had to just choose a moment because I was like, man, I don't know if I sit here 4 minutes, maybe the wind changes and they're out of here. So
Yeah.
as soon as I had this gap where I couldn't see his face, I couldn't see his butt, but there was the gap in his vitals, and I just punched it right in there, whack, and he drops down and takes off with them probably 10 yards, and then he fell down there, and it was this thing like I like to I don't know what you'd call this, but I like to try and be professional, act like you've been there before, like all that, and so I shoot
Put the
him.
pin on the elk, you mean?
Oh no, yeah. 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 No, I'm like, in my inside, I'm like, no way, dude. Like it's ecstatic. But like on the outside, I'm like calm and collected, rack another one, and
Uh,
I'm sitting on him, and I'm just like, as he expires, and my buddy comes up and he's like, dude, like hell yeah, and Mike, and he's a cheerleader too, man. Like, oh, he made me
mm,
so pumped too, but I'm just like trying to keep it cool, but we hug and everything and just thank you, Lord, kind of thing. I can't believe this happened. And
yeah.
we took a little video real quick, like what happened and to show my girls and stuff because my girls love the hunt and stuff too. And
You
and
get not gay exemptions anytime you hug after something gets killed,
yeah,
especially in the
exactly.
backcountry. Now, I will draw the line. My buddy Chisholm once asked me to give him his testosterone injection in his ass while we were elk hunting. This is my good buddy, and we do a political podcast on the side together. And I was
Yeah.
like, Chisholm, we've been friends for 20 years. This is across the line. You can shoot yourself up in the ass with your TRT, buddy. Because
I
well, guess what? I'm on it too, and I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to do it myself.
dude,
It's like the freaking '90s Bash Brothers, McGuire and Canseco shooting each other in the ass with
dude.
steroids. I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's
Plus, you haven't
funny.
showered in like a week either, man.
Yeah, now that's true. That makes it worse. Very similar thing happened to me this weekend at the sniper comp. everyone's, in the evening when you're not shooting guns anymore, what's everyone do? They're breaking out the drinks and whatnot. And this Tim at RevTac, he's so hilarious, man. He wanted a tattoo one night and they drove to all these parlors and nothing was open. So what did he do? He bought one on Amazon. He's like, I'm gonna get my own tattoo gun. So at this range, a lot of the people in the range community have, they call it the gun guy tattoo. And it's just a little stick human of a dude just putting his hand on his hip and pointing a pistol. It's
Uh,
just in this community out here, everyone's got this tattoo. It's hilarious. Anyway, sniper comp, guess what's busting out at night? Alcohol and a tattoo gun. One of the dudes who's way senior to me, and he's awesome dude. He's retired now, but he's like, he's had a few drinks and he's like, I want Ian Miner's name on my ass. I'm like, bro, yes. And I'm like, my mom's gonna kill me when she sees this, but this is gonna be awesome. So anyway, Tim, the guy who owns RevTech, he tattoos, I mean, in 1 inch block letters, Ian Miner on this dude's butt cheeks. It's freaking hilarious. It's on my Instagram. You can see it on my Instagram now, and it's, gosh, it's so awful. It's nasty. But anyway, that was the old needle to someone's butt, and we were
Uh,
in there. We were in there. So I have crossed the line.
but
Okay.
so you
Anyway,
get what did you shoot the bull with?
a 6.5 PRC with 147 ELDMs.
Okay.
Which, dude, it's so funny. Like, people rag on the ELDMs, and guys think you got to shoot a bull with a 30 cal. I'm like, let me prove you wrong, man. And I mean, this thing destroyed him. And I shot him right in the shoulder. I didn't put it back in his
I
lungs. It
was
was,
going to ask you because I am not. I'm not shooting any trophy in the vitals. It's always break down the front shoulder for me personally. Everyone has their own code
yeah.
of ethics or whatever. Like, well, you're going to waste meat. Yeah. Well, what about if you don't recover the animal?
And no one
You
likes
know.
butchering the front shoulder anyway. It's
Mm,
the most pain in the butt.
yeah. So I'm
No,
not.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's like,
And any guide will tell you the same thing. They want you to take out the 4-wheel drive. They want
yeah,
that thing disabled, can't go anywhere. And by the way, the
anchor 'em.
vitals are right there. You're probably going to get vitals anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
now,
And
if you're
that those
shooting a
EL,
doe, for me, that's completely different.
sure. Yeah. And the ELDMs are an immediate expansion bullet. Like, they're just shrapnel inside, right? And so if you get it anywhere near the vitals, you're sending shrapnel into the lungs and you're going to kill them. So
Mm.
it just worked out perfect, man. And it killed him right away. And,
This is the
uh,
biggest bull you've ever shot.
yeah, dude, it's the only bull I've shot.
Seriously?
Yeah, man. I've been to Wyoming. I've been there 5.5 years. And the
Uh,
first year I drew a really good tag and I hunted like 8 days and, I never saw a bull that whole 8 days. And it's, dude, I sucked at hunting. Like, let's
yeah.
just call it what it is. But a buddy was on some. They weren't big enough for him to kill. He's killed a lot of elk, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna come out there and I'm gonna shoot one. Like, we had the same unit. We had hunted a bunch already together, but then he had a weekend that didn't match up with mine. Anyway, he found some. By the time I got out there, they weren't there anymore. Grizzlies everywhere. It dumped a bunch of snow. It was a shit show. Anyway, since then, I've always put in for a good unit, and if I never drew, I knew I could always go and get a general tag.
hmm
But dude, I am still a good old Nebraska if it's brown it's down kind of guy. Like, if I have a good tag, sure, I'm
I
gonna
thought
hold
that
out.
was a Louisiana thing. It's
Yeah.
interesting to know that you Nebraskans are the same way.
Yeah. Well, I yeah. Elk just so sweet. I just want, my big thing is my family's all about game meat. So is everybody else. But my wife breaks down the bones for bone broth. She cuts the liver and makes liver pate to feed my girls. Like, I mean, we're all about the meat in our
Mm-hmm.
house. And so a trophy is just a cool blessing from God at that point. We just want to kill something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so the year that I didn't, the 3 years in between that I didn't draw a good unit tag, I didn't go out to do a general tag. I just went and shot cows.
Mm.
So now here's this big one again. I should probably take it kind of seriously. I'm like, this is a good tag. And of course, me being me, I didn't even know what rifle I was going to take until 2 days before it. And
Yeah.
that 6.5 PRC was just different pieces of guns that I threw together to take to this. And
Uh,
anyway, yep, that's what I killed it with. After we got down there and took some pictures and whatnot, it was time to haul that thing out. And, we're already exhausted from the hiking and, now covered in blood. And we're kind of deciding, you know what, let's get this thing up in some trees and we'll come back tomorrow. and it was starting.
I've been there, but never for the fear of grizzlies. Just black bear. Just got to get it off the
Yeah.
ground
Yeah.
and come back
Yeah.
the next day, make some meat poles, and
Yeah.
put it in your meat bags and hang it up. But I can't imagine being covered in blood while you've just seen three grizzlies right there. And
Yeah.
then
At this
probably a
point,
sleepless night too, being like, well, are they, even though we did what we could to secure it, like, can they still get to it?
yeah. So at this time, it has now been six grizzlies that we've seen.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and these three are right down, 300 yards away. And we're hiking this stuff up. We're doing the thing where you hike it up 500 yards, set it down, go get some more. And then when we get up there, that's our new base to get it to the
Mm-hmm.
trees. So at this point, we're like, yeah, we're gonna come back the next day, and I'm going to get us some water from the creek. Got my little filter deal, and as I'm filling this, there's grizzlies. They're like 250 down my drainage now. So those three grizzlies moved from the elk drainage to the next drainage where I was getting water, and they were coming up at not like they were coming after me or anything, but like they weren't just fooling around munching, like they were moving. So I'm like, frick, these things are coming up my drainage. I saw them before I got to it, but I got to get some water and stuff went through my mind. This is funny. I'm like, it's stupid, but when you're in the moment and you're seeing these grizzlies all over the place and you're exhausted and covered in blood, like I started looking at these rocks around me. I'm like, where will I paint my daughter's and my wife's name with my own blood as this grizzly's eating me? you know. And anyway, I get this water. I come back over. I go down to my buddy, and we grab the last bit of elk to bring up to our staging area. And as I'm down there, I'm like, dude, these grizzlies are right there. Like by the time we get up to our staging area, I bet they're on our pile of meat. And we get up there, so as we're about to crest, we draw pistols, just in case, and we're kind of hooting and hollering so they know we're coming up. We get up there and we see them, but they're not on our meat. They actually kept going up their draw and went over, call it Mother Mountain.
Uh-huh.
But we see these three go over Mother Mountain. So then we bring them the elk meat to the trees. We want to get them it deep enough into the trees that people aren't just like seeing the meat and the head and everything up in there. Um, Not super obvious, but not super deep that when we come back, we can glass into the trees and make sure we're not seeing grizzlies just eating our stuff.
Right.
Walk in there. And as we get the last bag hung, um, we see a boar come over Mother Mountain and sit probably 100 to 150 yards away from us in the trees, just waiting for us. So my buddy's sitting there kind of keeping an eye on this as I'm hoisting up the last one. And we're getting them like 12, 15 feet up in the air. And then, throw a 550 over top, pull it down, then tie it to the tree about face levels where we're tying it.
Yeah.
Um, and we see this boar and we're like, well, dude, I'm in no shape to fight off a grizzly right now. Like freaking exhausted, covered in blood, sweaty. It's getting dark. We're gonna get freezing cold. We need to get back. And we decided we're like, dude, let's go back and go back home, drive a couple hours, shower, come back real early in the morning. Like if that grizzly's on it, he's on it. And we're not gonna stay here and defend it with a fire covered in blood. Like I've
Right.
got kids, you've got kids. Let's not do this.
Mm-hmm.
And actually he doesn't have kids, and he actually was like, he suggested it. And I was like, you're joking, bro. But in my mind, I'm like, if he really wants to, we're freaking doing this. And I told him, like, we never committed to it. And as we're leaving, and I talked to him, he's like, dude, if you said you would have, I would have. I'm like,
It was like one of those things that was verbalized out loud, and then the back of both of your minds, you're like, hope that he says no, or
yeah,
just glosses over the
exactly.
fact that I just said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But Mike is a freaking trooper, man. He will do it. So anyway, we ran out of 550, or we would have left the back straps and loins in a bag up too. But we ran out of 550, so we're like, we got to take the extra 40 pounds out or whatever.
Mm.
We had another long walk out of there, up and down mountains and through freaking creek beds with grizzlies and whatnot. So we're like, as light as we can go, but we have to take this meat. So we make it on our way back. We drive home. We come back real early the next morning uh with a backup. We had brought a buddy with us. We hike back up to this spot and we glass in there, and what do we see? Some game bags on the ground. So we're
Mm.
like, well, crap. I forgot part of the story was when we were leaving, we looked back. We were 300 yards away, looked back, and that grizzly is moving to the meat. From that 100 yards away,
For
he is
sure.
now
Yeah.
moving. So I'm like, dude, I'm gonna take some shots like near him to scare him off. So the 6.5 PRC, I shot 4 rounds in front of him. One like stopped him, like what the heck. Second made him kind of do this like spinny, and third off to the side, made him take off. So like at least we just cool. We bought ourselves an hour. I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe he'll change angle and he'll get whiff of the carcass and go after the carcass instead.
Yeah.
That was the problem. Was our meat was between the bear and the carcass. It was just bad
Uh,
scenario.
yeah.
So anyway, we come back that next morning, like be prepared for him to be napping on his cache, basically, and
Yeah.
we glass in there. We can't see anything except that the meat's down. And so we circle it and just kind of hooting and hollering to make sure nothing's in there, nothing's napping, and don't see anything, don't hear anything. So we're pretty confident he's probably down to the carcass. So we draw our pistols, all three of us, and man, it was awesome. Like that's just the life where you have that fear a little bit, but it's three dudes who know how to shoot pistols, and we're walking through the woods just like going to the meet, and we get to where we're like, okay, he's not here, and we start looking for the meat, and he's got it buried just in dirt. Every piece has been chewed on, um, all four quarters, man, and I dig one up, I slice into it. Meat looks beautiful. And my buddy, who's got a lot more experience than me, and he's like, man, anything that a grizzly with the dead and rotten stuff that they eat, like, I probably wouldn't feed that to my kids, dude.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, stuff was chewed up and stuff too. So that was the decision was made then that, we fed some grizzlies, we got some meat out of it. And obviously I got the head and the antlers, which is awesome. That was just the bonus. But lost all that meat, but we were lucky that we had brought, 40 pounds of it out the night before.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of this moment of like, man, this freaking stinks. Um, but I respect the grizzly bears. At the same time, I want to freaking shoot those bastards, but like
Yeah.
they're sweet, man. And so we just decided, hey, this is gonna be a light pack out. We're gonna go look at the carcass and watch these bears. And we got down to the carcass and there was two bears on them and a
Mm.
coyote and a bald eagle. I mean, it was beautiful, dude. We just sat there and watched for probably 20, 30 minutes, these grizzlies tearing
Yeah.
up this carcass. And
They didn't mess with the head?
no, I shoved it pretty far up in the tree too. Dude, that's the thing is this meat was 12 to 15 feet high and the branches that they were on were snapped down. Like the only thing we like kind of came up with was he either found the 550 or smelled the blood from our hands on the 550 or was messing with a tree until he caught that and noticed. I mean, grizzlies are freaking smart. They sit
Yeah.
there and wait for you to butcher an animal and then go eat it when you're gone. Like they're
Hmm.
smart. But anyway, he tore it down from that high and got everything. So I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, two
Hmm.
grizzlies on the carcass when we got over, watched them for a while, and then made our way back out
I
and
mean,
then
that sucks that you lost the majority of the meat, but that's the reality of hunting in grizzly country. Like, it's just sometimes you get away with it, sometimes they win.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
haven't had the experience, luckily. I could say the most meat I've ever lost was, I think it was probably a pine marten got into the backstrap bag of an elk.
Oh
Pissed me
yeah.
off. And he
Yeah.
just gnawed, but that's a pine marten. It's a tiny little animal. He just gnawed off the end and made a hole in the bag.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
annoying, but
Yeah.
if
And
something can find it, they will. If they can eat it, they will.
yeah, that's absolutely right. And in Wyoming, it is the name of the game. Like you expect that you gotta hang stuff up or you gotta get it out of there. And sometimes hanging it up isn't enough.
Hmm.
There's plenty of stories of my buddies where they came back and the whole freaking elk is gone, even the head is gone. Um, I've heard of guys chopping head off, burying it in the snow, burying meat in four different spots to like kind of maybe he'll just get one or whatever, in the snow.
Hmm.
And they get up there and everything's chewed on, like so it's just the name of the game. Somebody might call me a puss and be like, dude, you should have packed it all out that night. But in the state we were in with carrying a freaking big bull up and down mountains and getting him up to the trees, like we weren't in a state to bring that out. We need to come back the next day. So they can judge me on that, but man, I think I'm pretty
I'm not
freaking
judging
tough.
you. I mean, I have done quite a few pack outs, elk pack outs, and
They're rough,
it's
man.
brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just absolutely. It's I think the most physically draining thing I've ever done. And because I can't think of anything. I mean, I've never run a marathon, but the most hell that I've put myself through in one session every time has been packing out an elk,
Yeah, man.
especially if there's deadfall and you've got
Oh, barf.
80, 100, 100. I think the heaviest I've ever carried out was like 115,
Yeah.
um, three
Jeez, dude.
miles.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's debilitating. Like if you're already exhausted, like yeah, I mean,
And you're going up and down mountains. It isn't just a
yeah.
walking on flat stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
tough. But yeah, and I've got a cow tag and my wife has a cow tag. So, it was heartbreaking, but also God provided us with more opportunity to get meat. So
Yeah.
we're excited for those hunts too.
So, did you get it scored?
Dude, no. I
Yeah.
tried scoring it, but I don't know what I'm freaking doing. I'm like, I looked at the Boone and Crockett deal and followed the directions
Yeah.
and
I mean, you
when
don't
I
seem like a super really. You could probably give a crap about what it scores. The trophy is the experience, and yes, it's a. I mean, it's a massive elk, but
yeah.
what do you think? Like, just what have people said?
Well, the buddy that was with me, Mike, very experienced guy, he's like, dude, that thing has to be when we were looking at it, he's like, that
Uh-huh.
thing has to be like 330. And then when we got up to it after we killed it, he's like, it's funny. He's like, most things you get up to it and they shrink. Like you
Yeah.
think they look huge and you get up to them. He's like, this thing kept growing as we got closer,
It looks really big on a Nissan Sentra roof.
Yeah, it does. That's
Yeah.
right. That's why I did it. But
Yeah.
he said he's like, dude, I bet it's like a 350, three
Mm.
fifty five, something like that. And then, I'm like just like, cool, that sounds good. But then subconsciously you start like, damn, this is a nice elk. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to score him then. And we get home and again, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of just doing stuff. I'm like, man, does the tape go here or there? I'm looking stuff at Chat GPT and all this crap. And I came up with 328. And then everyone I've told that's like, dude, I think that's a little under, but I'm just like,
Mm.
hey, at this point, because I've gotten so much hype from it from my buddies, I'm like, I was almost disappointed to see
Oh,
328.
yeah.
But everyone's like, you need to actually get that measured because that thing's bigger than that.
Uh.
So my guess is he's bigger because of what everyone said, but who knows?
So I'm not a big score it type of guy either. Whitetail, I do want to know. I take that back. I want to know what a whitetail scores.
Sure.
Pretty much everything else, I'm like, well, if it's a nice, mature male of the species, I'm happy with it regardless. But
Yeah.
I do have one buddy he's a SCI scorer, and everything's about the score. And so we went coos deer hunting in Mexico, and I
Yeah.
shoot this coos deer, and I'm not kidding you. Like the hide's not even on. It's not even. We haven't even cut the head off.
He's already
Anything.
scoring it.
He's like, well, 115. That's a hell of a coos deer. I'm like, thanks, Sawyer. Like,
That's awesome, man. That's funny.
yeah. Which 115 sounds so small, but for a coos deer, that's
Oh
massive.
yeah. Yeah. And dude, and that's not even vain. Like that's just it's fun to shoot stuff that's big. So
I
he wants
respect
to
him because
score.
he wants to know from like a historical perspective. Like
Sure.
he's like obsessed with the record books, and some people are like that. I don't think there's as many as there it used to be. I think hunting over the last, I'd say, 20 years has shifted more towards the experience
Sure.
than the score. But I don't really like, if scoring's your thing, great.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And it can add a piece of excitement to the hunt too. So I'm not
Hmm.
against it by any means. I was just like, dude, this is gonna
No.
be my first nice I have my goal is I want a nice elk in my house. I want a nice mule deer in my house. And besides that, I'll cow hunt and doe hunt and just get meat. That's all I care. Like and
Yeah.
boom, this elk, I don't care what he scores. That thing's freaking nice. I got one of my goals down, but at the same time, cool. Yeah, I'd love to know if
Yeah.
he's like really up there, you
So
know.
you're Euro mounting him,
Yeah, and that was a comfort-based decision. Because it was
right?
it was like, dude, we're exhausted. And I'm like, we are kind of talking it over. And Mike, he had a really good point. He's like, dude, you don't have vaulted ceilings anywhere, right? And I was like, no. He's like, man, I've got a shoulder mount and it's sitting in my storage unit and it's been there for years. He's like, you can shoulder mount this thing anytime you want. I would get it Euroed and then you
Yeah.
can at least have it in your house. And I was like, you know what? I've got a real good buddy. His name's Jason Byer. He shot a real nice elk and he Euro mounted, but he kept the bottom jaw in the Euro mount. And dude, I've never seen that. And I was like, that looked sick because it
Huh.
just makes it look bulkier. It really shows how
Mm,
big their face is, and I was like, that's what I'll do then. So, it's extra like $20 or something to keep
mm,
the bottom jaw and get it. So yeah, that's what we're doing. If we get a bigger place someday, then
mm.
we'll get a vaulted ceiling and throw a shoulder mount on them. But
Did you keep the ivories?
yeah, yep.
I got my wife some earrings made out
Dude,
of the first bull that I shot with my bow.
good for you, man. That's
No,
awesome.
she's never worn them. She's
Oh
like, these
man.
suck. I'm like,
She's like, that's disgusting.
no, it's not that it's disgusting. She's just like, she likes silver, and they only made them in gold, and like just
Dude.
the whatever you put the ivory in is. She's like, I don't
Hey,
really like gold, and I'm like, all right, we'll just forget about the
yeah.
custom gift that I just got you. Never worn them one time.
Yeah. Dude, maybe your daughter will wear them or
I'm
something
gonna
then.
the next one. I have actually have the ivories from the last bull that I shot, and I'm gonna get them something made with that. They would appreciate it, unlike my
Dude,
wife. So
that's the big thing I'm trying to do is get the girls and hopefully someday we have a boy, whatever God's plan is, but I'm like I love girls now. I'm like I wanted all boys, but now I've got these
yeah.
girls and they're amazing. And I did it right, man. I paired watching Meat Eater with having a bowl of ice cream.
Oh yeah.
So, man, they watch Meat Eater with me like crazy because they want that ice cream. And now they are, I mean, our bedtime stories at night are they want to hear about the big deer or the big elk that I killed. And of course, you always put a twist on it. Like one of the daughters got to come with, and I pulled out my gun to shoot the elk, and it was a pink gun, and I gave it to my daughter and let her
Yeah.
shoot it. Anyway, I'm hoping to get my girls into the hunting and stuff too. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, it's fun being a girl dad.
yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Dude, you got access deer on your chair there, huh?
Oh, dude. I'll show you something. Let's see.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. We have no shortage of axis deer in Texas, that's for sure.
That's so awesome, man.
This is my recording studio, and I think I've got about three more shoulder mounted in my actual trophy room. So
So cool,
the
dude.
coos deer and my Sonora mule deer are shoulder mounted, and they're sitting in the middle of the floor of the trophy room. It's like, where do I put them now?
Yeah.
You know,
Is
I'm
the,
gonna
the
have to.
wife's not letting you put them in the living room?
No, we got in a big fight. We outgrew the first house that we owned together.
Yeah.
Just ran out of space. It was three bedrooms, and there was five of us. The girls were really young, but and I was accumulating quite a few dead animals and taxidermy, and just she's like, we got to get a bigger place. We're running out of room, and so I was like, fine, but I want a trophy room. We're not going to look at houses that don't have a dedicated room for that.
Yeah.
We fight for a couple of weeks. Her aunt is our realtor. She's showing us all these houses, and I'm thinking we'll get a house with a media room, and I'll just make that the trophy room.
Sure.
And we just never could find the right thing. And I told her, don't show me any house. I don't want to go look at any house that doesn't have the trophy room. And she says, we're going to go look at this house tomorrow. And I look on the website. I'm like, there's no. I was like, no, we're not. I don't want to go look at that house. That's not what I said. What I want out of the house.
Yeah, yeah.
And we got in a big fight. And we don't fight much, but that was a pretty big fight. And we went and looked at the house, and we bought it the next day. And I there was this, I guess, like a sitting area, basically like wasted space. And I said, we're gonna wall that off, and that's gonna be the trophy room. She's like, done.
Yes,
So
dude.
we did. We,
Ah.
we 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 put some walls there, and now it's the trophy room.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's sick that your lifestyle is that you need a trophy room and you need a recording studio. Like, that's awesome, man.
I did not ever set out to do this for a living. It just was God's plan, So
It's connections, it's networking, and
yeah.
God's plan. Like you said,
Yeah.
no,
I
I
got a
don't think
degree in
anyone.
radio, TV, film. I did do that.
Okay.
So and originally I wanted to do like sports talk radio, but the first job I took at a radio station in small town East Texas, my weekly responsibilities included hosting a hunting and fishing show, and I
Awesome.
just fell in love with it. And like I said, I'm gonna I got laid off in 2008 when Obama got. I'm not saying it was Obama's fault, but the economy crashed, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
ended up getting laid off, and I started the show. We moved back to Dallas and moved in with my in-laws because like, well, where do we want to live? What am I gonna do for a job? And
Hmm.
I was like, well, I really like that doing that outdoor show, and so I started it on my in-laws' dining room table,
Awesome,
17 years ago. Yeah,
dude. Good for you,
there you
man.
go. And you recorded everything over a landline back then.
Oh, what?
There was no Zoom. There was no. We never saw each other when we were talking. It was just I had a landline hooked up to the computer, and I just recorded through the landline. So yeah,
Dude, I didn't even know that was a thing, man.
right.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Cool. Well, now we're here, brother.
yeah. And you're doing your thing. So tell everybody where they can follow you, and then just a little more about your side hustle of
Sure.
what you're offering there.
Well, first off, thanks for the opportunity to do that. That's awesome. My Instagram is unextraordinary man LLC, or well, sorry, my Instagram is unextraordinary man. And I'm shadow banned, so you got to type in the whole dang thing.
Oh yeah.
Because all my stuff's hunting and shooting and
Hmm.
whatnot. And where that came from was I knew I kind of wanted my own brand, and a buddy of mine was like, kind of encouraging me, like, dude, start a podcast or whatever. And I was like, well, I don't even have an Instagram. Well, this is where I came up with that name. G.K. Chesterton said one of his quotes, whether he actually said it or not, but this is one of his quotes was, "The most extraordinary thing in the world is an ordinary man, an ordinary woman, and their ordinary children." And that struck a nerve with me. Like it gives me chills
Hmm.
just saying it now because the common man, like I've worked with NFL players and, dentists and everything else down to the blue collar guy and the shift worker and the dude who scraped up money to get to the class to take the class, and my heart and my passion is for the common man, and I and just where they're at in their life. It doesn't mean they're not going to be as successful, and it doesn't mean that those successful people, let's call it rich people or whatever, weren't in that spot at some time in their life. But my
Right.
heart is to help those people in their part of their life, and that's how I grew up. My whole family's like that, and I'm from small town Nebraska, so that spoke to me, and I wanted to create a little side hustle where I can provide professional training, um, you know, to the common man and make it affordable, hopefully for everyone.
Hmm.
And it's funny because my wife and I have this talk a little bit where she's like, "You got to charge more for this or that," and I'm like, I know, babe, but I also don't want to price out the very reason, the very people I started this for.
Mm.
And so I have to provide for my family, but I
Yeah.
also I also want to provide good training to people who just want training and they don't have the money to go to a really, an expensive school.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, every expensive school that I've either taught for or went to was worth every dime, but not everyone can afford that at that moment. So
Right.
so
Right.
anyway, that's where my heart is. That's the people I'm trying to help, along with anybody and everybody. I'm not saying only these guys. I would just want to be able to provide it for everyone. And that's where I've gotten some support from companies doing some sponsoring with me. Vortex has helped me. Bergara has helped me.
Hmm.
Thunder Beast has helped me. Salmon River Solutions, MDT, dude, like everybody's been just really supportive, and I really hope that I can almost reach what hopefully they expect that I can do,
Mm.
I've done some classes in South Dakota, some classes in Kansas, hoping to be kind of spread, and bring my wife and kids with me to this because my big thing is family, um, faith and family. So that's what I do. I have a passion for teaching. I got my master's in sports management and coaching, and I thought I was going to be coaching kids football or something, and instead I'm coaching people how to shoot. And so again, God has got His own plans, but that's where I'm at. That's what I do. UXM stands for Unextraordinary Man. So my business is Unextraordinary Man LLC, doing business as UXM. So my website is uxmtraining.com. It's I've got a landing page, but it's been like we're working on it. So maybe hopefully it'll be up by the time the podcast comes out. But
Hmm.
We'll see, but otherwise, put it on your tabs and look it up later.
Right on, man. Well,
So
Ian, I
thanks.
appreciate it. Good luck the rest of this season, punching those cow tags and whatever else you've got going on. But certainly enjoyed the conversation, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Same to you, man. I think we'd be buds if we were closer and able to hunt together or something,
I
man.
will not inject your ass with testosterone. Just disclaimer.
Yeah.
But
You
other than
wouldn't
that,
go over the line for me.
yeah.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it too. I enjoy listening to your stuff and looking at your Instagram page and stuff. So I appreciate the opportunity to come on here.
Hey, my pleasure. All right. God bless.
All right, brother.